Okay, Matt, thanks so much for joining us via Zoom. I think the first question is, how are you feeling? Are you alright?
I'm absolutely fine, great. Just a routine test over the weekend, which showed up a positive result, surprisingly. So, asymptomatic, no symptoms whatsoever, so I'm absolutely fine. So, I've been out to watch the boys training on pitch one this afternoon from a distance. The boys have got a day off tomorrow on the back of the Friday fixture, and hopefully they'll be back in a normal capacity on Wednesday.
So not the only positive result we've had over the past few weeks, is it? sorry, not at all.
Was it impressed with that?
not even a laugh. Matt, so obviously it's been a brilliant few weeks since the turn of the year. How do you assess the season so far?
Well, obviously we're pleased with our current position. There's still a third left of the season, which everyone keeps on talking about, and in all honesty, so many games in quick succession. Only just over 2 months left of that period of time, but we've got 15 games left to play, and obviously after Mansfield on Friday, we go into those 3 games a week, and that's going to really test the squad, test our resolve, but a really good amount of games which we've got to look forward to and go in with a positive mindset. We know what we want to achieve. We're pleased with our current position. We've given ourselves a chance of being competitive, but we've got to perform as well on the back of what we expect to be a really difficult run of fixtures all the way through to the end of the season. But it's a very positive atmosphere around the club at the moment, certainly around the squad as well. We'll need a little bit of luck along the way. We'll need everyone to stay fit and focused, but we've certainly got some good players coming back from injury as well. So right now I'm really
pleased with where we are physically, but I also want that to remain the same moving forward.
So we're just sorting out a few more sound issues, but I think we're back. I think the question for you really is about how's this week going to work for you, obviously isolating at home while training's going on. Are you just putting all your faith in Wayno?
Well, I'm not officially isolated, so to speak. I was there to watch them training from a distance today, which is an outside capacity. A Monday morning or Monday training sessions are always different on the back of who plays what minute on a Saturday. So there was almost split groups. I'm sure the lads will testify. There was almost split groups today. A working group and a recovery group, so to speak. And then obviously we brought that day off forward one day because of the Friday night fixture. So it's given us a little bit of time just to reboot and probably a little bit of time for myself to stay away from the players and stuff. But I fully expect to be in, like I say, a full capacity from Wednesday onwards. If I started to display any symptoms, or if I started to feel at any stage, then we'll certainly knock it back a few days. And I've got some capable members of staff waiting in the wings in Wayne Carlisle and Dan Reed and Scott Brown as well. So it's a really strong group at the moment, but we also know that we've got to work towards what's going to be a massive game on Friday night.
Obviously, you look at that Mansfield run that are on at the moment, 13 unbeaten, it is going to be a really, really tough game, isn't it?
It is. They're all tough games. Saturday was a tough game. We went to Bristol Rovers and they were unbeaten for a period of time. And they were the former team in the league, and Mansfield are the same. And I watched them live against Newport the week previously when our home game was called off against Barrow due to the windy conditions on the Friday and Saturday. Really impressive team. Totally different, a huge contrast to when we played them early on in the season, where they were struggling for form, struggling for fitness in terms of their players, and no settled team. And we beat them convincingly that home fixture. The tides have certainly turned in terms of Mansfield's fortunes, and they're a really impressive group, an impressive manager as well. But we got there in a good position ourselves, and it's got that feel, another big game feel about it. I keep on mentioning that phrase, a big game feel about it, because we expect a full house in terms of the home capacity. We'll always go well supported and well travelled, and it'll be a really loud and raucous atmosphere. And we've got to implement our style as always on that game of football and somehow pack a punch. We learned a lot from this weekend, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot again on Friday.
That's the easy bit over for me. I'm going to hand over to the fans now if they've got any questions. Elaine will come around and pass around the microphone. Have we got the first question for Matt? Did you hear that or not?
Can you repeat that for me, Craig?
Do you want to try and speak a bit louder into the microphone, or I can give you this one? So the question was, heading into the final bit of the season, what more can the fans do to get behind the boys? Is that quite, I don't think I worded that quite rightly.
Well, the fans can't do too much more, let's be honest about it. It's about how we perform on the football pitch. That support everyone talks about, and that team spirit and the feeling around the club. Can't wave at any stage. We'll lose games of football, we'll start holding games of football, we'll have moments in games of football where it's a struggle, but all we can do is just stay united. We've all got the same cause, we're all aiming for the same thing. There's one thing this group of players is never short of, and that's the effort, the desire, the attitude to go above and beyond in relation to what they can produce on that football pitch. The physical exertions which this group of players about is absolutely incredible. A fantastic thing to witness. I told them before the game on Saturday, I'm in a privileged position because I'm still on the touchline watching them week in, week out. And hopefully you fans feel the same about this group of players. They've given everyone something to believe in. They're far from perfect, they're far from the finished article, but they're a really buoyant group to watch and to witness and to go about their work. And like I say, we'll get beaten now until the end of the season. We'll have poor patches in certain games and we'll start poorly at times. But united in terms of the way we all are, in terms of our mindset to keep achieving and keep on pushing towards it, and nothing can falter, nothing can waver in any way, and the fans have just got to play their part as best they possibly can to keep the positive feeling promoted around the club.
Great answer from Matt there. Any more questions? We're all too shy. Okay. Oh, there we go.
Hi Matt. The game against Harrogate lived long in the memory for most of us who were there at on the game. But what pleased you most about the character of the team coming down back from 3-1 to win the game?
The never say die attitude. The fact that we didn't panic, I've used that phrase a couple of times in recent weeks. We've been behind at Swindon, behind at Bristol Rovers, we were behind at home to Harrogate. We never panicked, we stayed on script, we stayed to task. And by saying that, I basically mean we keep on doing the right thing where we don't try and go too soon and leave ourselves open to conceding more goals. We stayed in contact with the opposition and stayed in contact with the scoreline. And even against Harrogate, after 20 minutes of that game, we started to create chances, and we created chances from 20 minutes onwards right until the 95th, 96th minute when Jack Sparks scored that goal. So we always felt like if we could, convert one of those chances, regardless of that scoreline at the time, we'd give ourselves a chance of getting back in the game. But let's be honest, it was a totally different feel 20 minutes into that game of football. The way the fans felt, the way I felt, the decisions I had to make, the way the players were performing. Sometimes they needed a little bit of help as well, and we felt we gave them that on that evening. But to keep on going in the manner they did in that second half was so pleasing to see. And I've always said all along, we feel this team's got goals in it. It needs the opportunity to keep on producing those moments of brilliance. And really important moments, and Jack Sparks stepped up at the end of the game, but that was only in the back of a collective team display for a long period of time. But football's a strange game, it's a funny game, it can go so differently at so many different stages, and the violence are always so fine at our level. But I can say there's a certain feeling that this team won't give in, regardless of scoreline, and it's probably shown in terms of results we've had from a losing position at different stages of the season, or even the results we've had when we've not been quite at our best.
Matt, I think one thing I should have asked you earlier, I think we were all a bit worried about Czech Diabate on Saturday, but I did see him driving out the training ground on Saturday night when I got back, so have you got an update on Czech for us at all?
Look, he's obviously sore. Those who were at the game, obviously in the incident, he ran through it. The best way to describe it is it was a powerful moment. Czech Diabate, I think Sam Stubbs wasn't too far away, and Ryan Loft, the player we had on loan with ourselves a few seasons back, and it was a moment of real power, some powerhouses going towards that ball, and Czech got bumped when he was off balance and fell awkwardly. It looked like he trapped his arm underneath his side. Obviously you worry about any breaks or cracks to the ribs, but what appears to have happened is that his oblique side muscles, it was such a big impact that they went into spasm, hence why he could barely move when he took the ball out of play. Obviously they had to be stretched off, so a worrying moment, but we feel that he's recovering well in a couple of days after that. He'll have to rest and nice for the next couple of days, and then we'll assess him. Friday night won't turn out to be too soon in terms of pain, and obviously the chance of further contact at an early stage or at a late stage in a game of football, but it's quite pleasing that we don't expect him to be out for a long period of time. In all honesty, I'm more worried about Giovanni Brown's hamstring, which obviously played up on the 75-80 minute mark. And also the way the rest of the group are physically on the back of such a big effort at the weekend. But we've got an extra couple of days building towards Friday, and we'll assess the group as well.
think we've spoken about this before, but Czech Diabate's made such a huge impact in such a short time after returning from his loan at Truro. He's been, almost undroppable at centre-back.
Can you say that again, Craig?
Sorry, I was just saying that Czech Diabate, we've obviously spoken about this before, but he's someone who he's coming after his loan at Truro, and he's really grabbed his opportunity that he's been given with both hands. He's been superb for us.
Yes, and his performances have probably been a reflection on how well his loan went early on this season. We didn't expect him to come in and perform so well, but if you're performing well out on loan, then you're probably ready to take the next step. The next step might not be a jump from the Southern Premier League to League Two, but Czech's certainly got a body, a mind, and a game at the moment which we can trust. I can trust as a manager. He can rely on it, and there's so many good things to like about what he's got in his game. Let's not forget he's a right-footed defender playing on the left side of the back three at the moment, but there's a presence about him. He's on that football pitch, and there's a lot of times you see young players make their debuts or break into the first team, and there's that transitional phase where they're on the pitch but you don't really notice them. Due to whatever reason, you really notice Czech, and you notice his game as well, and there's a real contribution there. So hopefully that will continue for a long period of time. But we've also got to play a testament to the work which the Truro guys are doing for the first half of the season, and all the work which goes on behind the scenes with Dan Green and the academy coaches to get him to this point. But he's just got to keep on riding the current wave that he's on at the moment in terms of the confidence and the feel-good factor and the attention he's getting. But he'll only keep on getting that if he keeps performing well.
Any more questions for Matt? You've all gone shy. I think you've all gone shy. Matt, we've got Kieran Phillips and Offrande Zanzala here with us. Obviously, it was disappointing to lose Oz so soon into his loan spell, but they both scored for us early on in their spells. I'm embarrassing them here. Just talk about, Kieran's first goal at Bradford and Oz's goal. They really made an impact for us early on.
Yeah, well, centre forwards are paid to score goals. That's what they're known for. That's what they're renowned for. That's why we've brought them both to the football club. Different experiences up until this point, I suppose. Ozzy's debut, it feels like a long time ago now, but it went so well for him personally and for the club. And then obviously the injury to happen so early on in the Boston game was a real kick in the teeth. But we're so pleased to see him back out on the training pitch, back moving again with the ball at his feet and causing tremendous problems. So, that if he gets through the next few days training and possibly he'll be in contention for Friday, if it's not Friday, then it's the following Tuesday. And we're really looking forward to what he can add to that front line, which obviously involves Kieran in it. And Kieran's come in and done fantastically well. And got his goal. His goal is rewards for his performances, in all honesty. We've been really pleased with his performances up until the point at that moment at Bradford away where he finished it so well. A real coach's goal in terms of not looking at the goalkeeper, not looking at the goal. Fantastic finish. It was unfortunately picked up a slight injury or niggle off the back of that moment, that collision with the goalkeeper, and subsequently missed the next game, but obviously affected the game at the weekend as well. So you're only as strong as your players, only as strong as your squad, and certainly as a manager, you're only as strong as your front line. And at the moment, going into the running, that's my most pleasing factor, the fact that Sam Nobby's coming back from injury, it looks like he's getting close to match sharpness. Kieran's fit and ready to go, and the Oz isn't too far away. I hope Giovanni, his hamstring injury is not too serious, because we need options stopping the pitch. And then we've got Patrick Amon as well, who's missing a little bit of time at the moment, but should be back in the next couple of weeks. So all of a sudden you've got 4, 5, possibly 6 players at the top of the pitch, and you want to be able to change the game from the top end of the pitch, especially when we're going to be looking for points and looking for goals. From now until the end of the season, we're going to be quite aggressive in terms of the style of play we want to implement, and that will always start and finish with the front line.
Just referring back to the first fan question about the support and what they can do, if you look at March, it's a huge month, 4 home games. I think it's just about the fans continuing to do what they do and backing the lads at the park. The big back makes some great noise, but 4 home games, we could be in a really good position come the end of March.
Yeah, lots of games in quick succession. You get a different feel at every single game. Sometimes you get an expected big game when it was rather know that they're up for it from the start, and the away fans always play a part in it, and the way the team starts plays a part in that as well. And then you get the odd Tuesday night or the odd Saturday afternoon where it's a little bit windy, a little bit quiet, for whatever reason everyone's a little bit lower than usual. Somehow we've got to find a collective energy to help the team out, and we've got to find it first and foremost on that football pitch. But the fans can play a huge part in that, whether it's just a constant stream of singing and a constant stream of noise and positive energy, pushing that team forward or pulling the team towards it if they're on the big bang. Either way, they've just got to keep on staying positive no matter what the outcome is or what the expected outcome is. And like I say, if there's anything we've shown that we're never out of the game of football, if it's 1-0, 2-0 down or level, we're never out of the game of football. So I think we've had some exciting finishes in recent weeks, so I'd also ask as many fans to stay until the 95th, 96th minute if they possibly can. I know it means probably not being able to avoid the traffic or getting an early train home, but there's always excitement at the end, and we hope that will continue, and we hope that will continue the positive reflection on our results.
It's also not good for the heart rate or for those who write the match reports, yeah? But yeah, there's a real never say die attitude at the club at the moment, isn't it? And that could be so important coming into these final couple of months of the season.
Absolutely, but it's also expected. If players gave up, then they won't be playing. If players gave up in an Exeter shirt, they certainly won't be playing under my manager stint and with the staff we've got. So you want the players to be a reflection of the football club, and let's be honest, we've been through some hard times a long time ago now, but this club's been through some hard times, and there's a really positive atmosphere and vibe at the moment. But it'll only continue if we keep on performing well. We want to be competitive in this league. We want to be pushing towards that top end of the table, top half of the playoffs, automatics if we can. But you've only got to look either side of where we are in terms of our league position, and the clubs around us. There's some monsters of clubs at this level, and somehow we keep on competing with them. And like I say, it's testament to the group of players. It's testament to probably the relationship the fans have got with the players at the moment. And if I was an Exeter City fan, which I probably am to a certain extent, I'd want to watch this team play. It's got pace and power, it's got rawness, it's got energy, it's got endeavour, but it's also got a huge amount of will in it. And like I say, I think that's a fantastic reflection on what the club is.
Have we got any further questions for Matt? Yeah.
I've given the microphone.
That's all right.
Sorry, with a couple of games postponed, would you rather have the points on the board looking over your shoulder or chase it? I don't know if it makes a difference or...
What was that, Craig? Sorry?
The question was, with a couple of games we've had postponed, would you rather have games in hand or points on the board?
That's a great question. What I keep asking myself, I'll be honest, I'm worried about the amount of games we've got left in quick succession. But within that period of time, the squad's going to have to be rotated, the squad's going to have to be moved, there's going to be different players starting certain games and resting in certain games. But even within that period of time, we've got to expect to put our best out as often as we possibly can. And when players do play, we need them to perform at their best. As long as the gaps don't get too big, I don't mind having games in hand. If we need to claw back gaps which are too big, let's talk frankly. We think Forest Green are probably too far away from ourselves and the chasing pack. So in terms of where Forest Green are at the moment in the league position, they're too far ahead with their points tally. But everyone else is so tightly grouped. I think it probably goes down to 12th, possibly even 14th in the league table, where there's not many points between anyone, and you only need a good week or a good couple of results to put yourself up or put yourself down, which is why we've got to stay so level if we drop out of our current position or if we move up from our current position. But I don't want to get any more games called off. I'm touch wood, barring anything drastic with weather or anything untoward, we shouldn't really have any more games called off this season, and then we can keep on planning and sticking to the schedule moving forward, and then preempt when the players are going to be at a certain level of fatigue just by the amount of games they've got to play between now and the end of the season. But at the moment, I think there's 2, possibly 3 points to second and third place, and then there's only sort of 3, 4, possibly 5 points to 10th place. So we're very much in amongst a chasing pack, so to speak.
That was a very good question. Yeah, one down the front here.
Hi Matt. There's been lots of talk about Duarte being really solid at the back, but Sam Stubbs has been brilliant. I believe his contract's out at the end of the season. Is anything being done to extend his contract?
Whose contract?
Sam Stubbs.
Now he's in a contract for another season.
Well, there we go. No need to worry then, is there? Yeah, one down the back.
We watched Hardridge play last Tuesday afternoon, I think it was, he had 23 games, and he was actually out the match on Saturday. Is he really back into, full form?
Go on, Craig, you'll have to repeat that one, please.
The question is, we saw Alex Hartridge back in, he was playing against Wolves and he was sit out the game against Bristol Rovers. Is he far away from the start back in the first team?
No, he's fit again now. He's just getting into that, we just had a question about Sam Stubbs in the back line. He's just getting into that back unit, I suppose. Jonathan Brown's has performed so well when he's come on. Czech Diabate's obviously had a fantastic introduction into the first team. But Alex is a player who performed really well for the first half of the season. What was it, up until the second week in December where he got that nasty knee injury. But he's fully fit. Great, he got 90 minutes in that under-23s game at Wolves and performed well in the good season performance, kept a clean sheet. So, as with all players within the squad, he'll be called upon at some stage. If it's not on Friday, he'll be within the next couple of weeks, and everyone's just got to be ready to perform to their best. And he's a player which we've really been pleased with his progress so far this season. He's grown, he's improved his game no end, and he's also going to add a little bit of physicality, a little bit of balance to that back line in terms of his left foot and his physical attributes. So we're looking forward to seeing what he produces when he's back in the team.
The questions are flowing now. Any more? Martin at the back.
You mentioned most of the defence so far, but one defender you haven't mentioned is possibly one of the signs of the season, a fellow you picked up from Swindon Town by the name of Pierce Sweeney, who I think since he came back has been excellent. And also, can I also ask how far away Harry Kite is from full fitness?
I think they got a first fight in terms of Pierce Sweeney.
How far Harry Kite away was the second bit?
Okay, good. But first off, in relation to Pierce, I'm going to keep on pushing him to become the leader I think he is. And when I say the leader, the character, he's got a fantastic personality, charisma about him, typical Irish boy. Someone who I feel he's got a whole host of potential, an awful lot of potential to play at a high level if he keeps his mind and his body in the right place, which they certainly are at the moment. We spoke about Sam Stubbs' introduction into that back group, and all of a sudden if you've got stronger players either side of you, then your performances will improve as well. But I've said it publicly, I've said it privately, I've been really pleased with Pierce's influence on this squad in the last few weeks, not just in terms of his play performance, but when it's been difficult moments, how he's dragged the team through and gone into that leadership role which I gave him at the start of the season. So obviously there was a lot of decisions to make at the start of the season in terms of his future career, his future career with ourselves. It could have been so different if the Swindon takeover or the Swindon debacle hadn't happened, but we're really pleased to have Pierce fully fit and firing at this moment in time. And in relation to Harry Kite, that was a nasty injury picked up at Bradford. Possibly went under the radar because such an honest kid and he gives everything for the team. But that was a serious injury, quite a bad tear in his groin. He's moving pain-free, which is a good sign. He's not out on the training pitch, but he's doing certain exercises in the gym, so it won't be in the next couple of weeks we'll be seeing him back out on the football pitch. It'll be a little bit longer in relation to Harry Kite, but then that's another player we hope to have moving back to fitness towards the business end of the season, towards the last month or so of the season, as long as he doesn't react badly in terms of what he does in the next few weeks.
Well, I think that's most of the defence covered. Any more questions? Yeah.
Well, Matt, assuming that Forest Green take the top spot, I expect everyone's got their favourites and who else they'd like to go up with us. For me, I like to see Newport go up with us automatically. Have you got a team that you'd like to see go up with us and one that you would like to see not go up with us?
There's a Bradford in the room apparently.
No feeding towards other teams. I've got to be honest with you, no feeling whatsoever towards other teams. One thing I'll say is that the team we're playing on Friday, I think they're in that category of favourites with Forest Green to go up. They're the best team I've seen live. I went to watch them at Newport, Mansfield, a serious outfit, so that tells you what to expect on Friday. There's so many good teams in and around us. There's big clubs, there's clubs who've just been promoted from the conference in Sutton, and there's teams who were relegated from League One last season, and then there's the usual ones similar to ourselves in Newport, which are, like you say, a trust-owned club, a club similar to ourselves, a team who always, or a club who always punches above their weight in league stature, league position, and league finance. So I suppose if I could choose one, it'd be the model which is most similar to our football club. Because that's a model which we want to promote, and if you have success on the pitch alongside success off the pitch, then that bodes well, because we only know too well how other clubs are run financially and from a business aspect. But we believe in the way we work at Exeter, and I'm sure Newport are exactly the same. So I've always got a soft spot for Newport, but we all know just how difficult the rest of the teams are in and around us. Some, like I say, some big clubs, some fantastic clubs. And you want to see all clubs do well, but we want to be close to it and we want to remain competitive. But I've got to sit on the fence in terms of who I like and don't like.
Matt, you mentioned Sutton United there. We've seen so often clubs, I think they call it the National League bounce, where they do the double promotion. But that said, have Sutton United surprised you this season?
Say that last bit again.
Have Sutton United surprised you this season?
No, because anyone who knows anything about the conference at the moment will understand that that is an absolutely incredible league. Probably more highly financed than a lot of levels at League 2 and possibly League 1. And that sounds strange to say because it's not a professional league in terms of the football pyramid as such, but they're all full-time, pretty much all full-time. And in terms of the financial backing, if you get out of the conference and if you win the conference, you're a serious team and a serious group of players. And whoever comes up from the conference this season, I can guarantee that'll be probably similar to what Sutton have been in this season. Whether it's Stockport, Chesterfield, Wrexham, there's some, not sleeping giants or anything, but they're just so well financed that we can't even compete with teams in leagues below us. So that tells you a lot about the National League. So we weren't surprised by Sutton. We were probably a little bit surprised by their style and how their style's been so successful at our level. But full credit to their team effort and their will and the way they performed this season. And two really tough games against them. We were so lucky to come out on a losing capacity when we went there on New Year's Day with a makeshift team, so to speak. But that was almost the start of our run in the second half of the season. And we saw enough that day against a physical team and a physical bombardment that this team was going to stand up to absolutely anything that was thrown against it. And then it was up to myself and the rest of the staff to just keep adding quality on top of what we showed that day.
Any more questions for the gaffer?
Hi Matt. After a game, the players tend to come out and show their appreciation to the fans by coming out and clapping. MJ Sween's non-verbal, brilliant at that, and the fans really get behind them. Is there any reason that you don't come and join in that celebration and appreciation too, as the fans are behind you as well?
You say that again, Greg?
So the players always come and clap to the fans at the end of the game. Is there any reason why you perhaps don't go over to the fans almost as close as the players do?
Yeah, pretty simple. It's not my moment. It is the players. You're there to watch the players, you're there to support the players. They're the ones who feel you the most. It's not a bugbear of mine, but I need to say I don't like seeing managers become cheerleaders and stand at the front of their players. They should be at the front, they should be accolades. I don't know, for 90 minutes they put on blood, sweat and tears into that football shirt for the football club for you guys. And they deserve to generate that accolade and that relationship at the end of the game. And I don't want to diminish that in any way. It's not a relationship between me and the football fans. It's a relationship between the players and the fans. And hopefully that's shown by the strength it is this season. I always appreciate the fans as best I possibly can, but I'm fully aware that it's the players' moments on the football pitch. My days of playing and clapping the fans, which I did when I played, they're long gone. My appreciation is a silent one, a quiet one, because the players show it more than anyone else.
Yeah. Right, hopefully I don't need to see that question on social media again. Yeah, another question here.
Hi Matt, how important is it to get MJ back on top form and scoring goals again for the rest of the season?
I think I got that in terms of MJ's form. look, he's our captain, he's our leader, he's been a fantastic contributor, even in the games he's not scoring. I think we're fully aware that, you know, there's two players, I can't even say, but sat to my right hand side. If any one of our centre forwards hit an unbelievable streak of goals scoring form where they can score, you know, double figures from now to the end of the season, we've got a better chance of being successful. And include Matt J in that bracket, but it can't all be about Matt J's goals. I think we all saw for the first half of the season, we'd have all been disappointed with Giovanni Brown's contribution to his goal return. But we trusted what he gave to the team and what he brought to the team and what he added to the team. And we're being repaid in terms of that faith we showed with his goal scoring feats of recent. And MJ, as soon as he scores one, I'm sure he'll score a cluster of goals. And he's so close as well. He had chances in a Harrogate game, one over the line, one saved by the keeper, so close again at the weekend. So he's getting in those positions, and he's still our best finisher at the football club, he's our best technician. So I'm sure the moment he hits the back of the net, he'll go on a little run. No illusions, that's what players will need to do. They'll need to keep on contributing in all aspects of the game. But at any stage, if they're not getting chances or not looking confident in front of goal, then that's my job and the staff's job to rotate and to look to change personnel when needed. But I've got full trust and full confidence in all of our players, in all honesty, and Matt J, someone I believe will continue to score goals as well.
Any further questions? We'll make this two last questions from these two then, because I know Kieran and Oz have been waiting here patiently long enough.
Hi Matt, with the games coming thick and fast, how easy or difficult do you find it getting the right balance between training and actually playing the matches?
Go on, Craig.
With the amount of games coming up, how hard do you find it to get the right balance between training and playing matches?
Oh, it's so difficult. The boys will testify. When you're in a 3-game week, you're almost going into just recovery mode, and we've not got the biggest squad in the world at the moment because of the injuries. So the players you see on the bench just have to do top-up sessions, and within those top-up sessions you can't do too much or too little. You've got to try and find the right balance. We're always well supported by the group or the cohort of 23s and some under 18s players as well who are out on long getting game time themselves. But in terms of training numbers in and around the games and the 3 games a week, it's so difficult to get consistency. And then the players have got an individual responsibility to keep themselves sharp, do as much as they can away from the training pitch so that when they're called upon, that they're ready to perform. Physically, they can't be at a lower level to anyone else on that football pitch. So we try and get the balance as always. I must admit, it's not easy with the 3-game-a-week schedule. It probably means we're training a bit part on the AstroTurf every now and then. And similar to what we did today, we probably have split groups where one's had high minutes and one's doing a partly a recovery session. And then there's another group doing real hard physical work and doing this as close to game repetition or, as close to game type activities as we possibly can. I'll had it today, Kieran had it today, and we try and get as much sort of medicine throughout the week to prepare them for the vigors of the weekend. We never quite get it right, no one ever does, but you can't quite get a perfect training schedule and a perfect training week when you're playing so often. But that's the nature of the league, and the main thing is that everyone has to stay fit and to contribute to the next game.
Is there anything you've learned now that you sort of might not know in the first season when they made the playoffs? So sort of you've been in and around the playoff area and stuff like that. So is there anything you've learned from being so close the last few years?
You're constantly learning. You're only as strong as your group of players. You're only as strong as your squad as a manager. You're only as strong as your bench whilst the game's going on. In terms of the players you've got to select from in the league into games. One thing we felt in previous seasons is that any injury, even one injury to a major player, then it's really affected the rest of the group. We saw that in December with Tim Dieng's absence and Sam Nonme's absence. But this season we feel we've got players who can come in and fill in those positions, and we don't lose too much in terms of our performance on the pitch and in terms of our results. Only time will tell, but we've certainly got we needed a little bit of luck along the way. I remember my first season going to Forest Green, last game of the season, Nicky Lowe was unavailable, Randall Williams dropped out of the warm-up. We had one centre forward to choose from because Jonathan Ford couldn't really play on his injured knee, which obviously forced his early retirement. So not having the right bodies at the right time is absolutely key, because you want your best players out there for as long as you possibly can. So like I say, we'll need a little bit of luck, and then we'll need players to hit form at different stages from now to the end of the season, and their contribution's got to keep on happening. Jack Sparks' contribution in the 95th minute against Harrogate was a big moment for Jack, but a big moment in terms of the squad, because he's been on the outside of it for probably the best part of a month now. But at that moment he stepped up and contributed and got us those 3 points, and from now to the end of the season, within those 15 games, we're going to need different personnel at different stages. And the pressure's only going to ramp up, it's going to keep on building and building, and the questions will only get bigger and stronger and have more behind them as we get closer to the end of the season, because we know where we want to get to. But there's no internal pressure from me on this group of players. I'm privileged to watch them train day in, day out, and they've got to stay as good people with the same goal collectively, and together we'll see where it takes us.
Matt, I'll end your section with this one for you then. Almost every player we've spoken to this season has said this is the best dressing room they've played in, so I'll spin that back on you. Is this the best dressing room you've managed so far in your time at Exeter City?
It's a good question, and time will tell, Craig. I think we've only lost 5 league games this season, I think I'm right in saying. So in terms of team spirit and team connection, it's an awful lot easier when you win games of football or you're not getting beat. Let's be honest, when you're behind the game, you show your true colours, and when you get beat, you show your true colours. When things are going against you, you show your true colours. But there's the real, how best to describe it, the players seem to get on with each other. They seem to like spending time with each other. They seem to like spending time together at the training ground, albeit limited at certain times in the season. But they like each other's company and enjoy each other's company. No one travels too far distance, so everyone lives relatively locally, and everyone seems to have bought into what we are as a football club, but what we are as a training environment as well, which is where team spirit is built. So it's certainly impressive at this moment, but it'll be tested between now and the end of the season, and we all react in different ways. Sometimes we react in a positive nature, sometimes we react in a slightly negative way, but understanding what the end goal is absolutely crucial. And building those relationships doesn't just happen in one season, it takes a long period of time. And there's some players who've been with me from the start, and there's some players, to my right, who've just come in the last month or so. So everyone's at a different stage, but there's a hunger there, and probably a collective hunger from the goalkeeper through to the kit lady, and all 20 plus players in between and staff in between, which says we want to do well. We want to do well individually for ourselves. There's always a selfish aspect of football, but collectively we want to do well for this football club, and I think that shows as much as that team spirit.
Matt, thank you very much for your time this evening. I know you'd much rather have been here in person, but I think we've just about made it work. I'll say we can let you go, or you can stay and listen to Oz and Kieran, it's up to you.
I want to listen to what these two got to say.
Am I on?
You've been sat there long enough, so apologies for that one. Kieran, let's start with you then. Obviously you've come in on loan from Huddersfield, and you scored your first goal against Bradford, so as a West Yorkshire lad, you scored against your home club's rivals. It wasn't a bad start for you, was it?
No, definitely not, no. They're obviously good being back up north playing, it's where I feel most comfortable. So, especially scoring at Bradford, I know the Huddersfield fans not too keen on Bradford, so to score my first goal there was a good feeling for me, but also had that bit of, it was a bit better just for that.
How have you found that move down here? Because it's not close, Exeter and Huddersfield, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely not close.
That said, Oz has come further.
Yeah, I'm about 260 miles away from my house, so it's a long way, but it's not. I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I've blended in quite well. I've lived away before, so it's not really concerning. I've lived away since I was 14, so to be honest with you, it's probably more normal than anything. Me living away. So yeah, I think I'm really enjoying it so far.
obviously you've had that journey through the Huddersfield Town Academy and things like that, and you've come to a club here, obviously famous for our academy. It must be a really good place for you to learn down here.
Yeah, definitely. Everything that we're doing training, it's all development, which is massive. At the end of the session, you've got individual bits after every session, which is good. And that's all I want to do. I want to come here, I want to learn, I want to gain experience, I want to get better. To obviously take me into whatever comes in my career in the future. And I feel like this is a good place to do it. I think I'll improve a lot here. And hopefully do well, so we'll see how it goes.
And it's strange, you went from one Matt Taylor on loan at Walsall to another one. What did that loan spell at Walsall teach you that you were able to bring here?
Taught me a lot of things. There were a lot of ups and downs. Taught me how football is really. It's not all rosy. But again, we've come here and haven't lost since we've been here, so it's obviously sometimes it's all good as well. So obviously, football's a roller coaster. When I first taste men's football, I played in a different position to what I'm used to. So that was an experience in itself. I think it's just getting the minutes, gaining that experience, and just growing as a person and growing as a player.
I think the competition for places, particularly up front, is going to be so strong come the end of the season. When Oz is back, when Podge is back, Sam's returned from injury, there's a real desire to get into that squad at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And they're all quality players as well, which can only produce one thing, and it's everyone to get better. Everyone will be there, everyone will be fighting for a place, and you just got to train your best, you got to play your best, and hopefully you'll get in. But I think with everyone pushing each other on and on, I think we can only all go one way, and that's up.
Here's that. Also, your turn now. I think we agreed, oh, he's gone.
Oh.
He's had enough. You didn't want to hear what you had to say on that. Should we get him back?
Yeah.
I'm still here, Greg.
Oh, you are? We can't see you, but you disappeared.
Standing to Pierce Sweeney.
Oh, there we go. They're all just looking at a picture of Pierce Sweeney for a minute. No one wanted that. Oz, it was a perfect start to your Exeter City career, that goal, but I imagine disappointed with the injury, but let's start with positives. A great debut for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously coming on loan from Barrow.
Just round the corner.
Yeah, which was so far, of course. But coming in, settled in quite quickly, and I've enjoyed my time, obviously, since moving down south. As Kieran's mentioned as well, I've moved quite a lot in my career as well. But I think coming down to Exeter, I've really enjoyed it, and obviously off the football side of things, really, even just the fans, just before my debut game, just wish me all the best, and hope things go as well, and settling into Exeter and stuff, which was good to see and speak to some of the fans as well. But of course, making my debut, which I couldn't sleep really the day before. I was looking forward obviously to the game, to the debut, of course. Making my debut, pleasing the fans to the best I can, playing my game really, and of course bringing to the club, to the team, what I'm capable of doing, which is not just goals, but my all-round play, if it's physicality or if it's running behind, and of course what the gaffers asked me to come and do. And of course getting my goal was something which kept a smile on my face for quite some time really. And it was good to obviously share that moment with the team and the fans, of course, and scoring second half in front of the crowd. But yeah, and of course getting obviously the injury, which didn't want to happen, but of course it's part of football as well.
Obviously, you had the operation a couple of weeks ago. How is your rehab going at the moment?
Yeah, the operation went well. It was a quick, successful operation. I can just remember getting injected and falling asleep. And the operation was 20 minutes or 20 minutes or so, which went quite quickly really. But they didn't really need to do much on the knee, which was good as well. It wasn't a muscle injury, which of course coming back is not going to be as long, which was a credit as well. To the specialist doing a great job as well, and of course right now just getting back to to the fitness side of things and being out and just getting stronger in my knee. And but it's good to obviously be around the lads as usual. Lads have been very supportive. The fans have been very supportive, which I want to say as well through social media. Supporting me through that, and of course kind messages for when I do come back. So yeah, I've been thinking about obviously when my first game back is, but at the moment in time, just getting the best I can do with my knee and getting stronger every day as I can.
Do you anticipate a time frame when you may be back? Matt might have a different one to you, but
yeah, I mean, I'm a player who I want to be on the pitch as much as I can, of course. I've enjoyed my time, as I say, since coming. I want to keep playing as much games as I can, of course. But at the same time, I've got to be sensible with my rehab. I've got to be sensible with my knee. Of course, the last thing we all want to do is for me to come back too soon, and then it wasn't right, or it wasn't strong enough, or I wasn't fit enough, which caused another injury. So I think the physio, Connor, the S&C, they're doing a great job with helping me get back to full fitness. And of course, being out today with with Wayne as well, that's helped. And just getting back to the routine really. And of course, my body will take some adjusting as I haven't played in a long time. But I'm someone mindset, want to help the team as much as I can. So if it means sooner than later, then of course I want to play. I'm like a kid in the park, so I want to play football. But of course, being a professional footballer, you have to do it in the right manner. So things are going well. My rehab's going well. So hopefully I won't be out for too long.
Often when loan players get injured, they go back to their parent club. How did it work for you? Was that an option? Was it your choice to stay? Was it Matt's choice that you'd stay with us until you were fit again?
I mean, obviously, coming off the injury against Warsaw, I didn't know how long I was going to be out for, and of course having to get a scan and see the specialist as well to see how long I will be out for. It wasn't going to be too long, which was a positive. And of course speaking to Barrow as well, as they are, my parents' club, having to see what they think is best. Because of course I am a long way away, so it would have to mean that I would have to travel all the way back up if I was to get treatment at Barrow. But
maybe end of the season by the time.
Exactly, having to come back as well. But now things went well, and speaking to Barrow, as I've said, and of course at the club as well, the club doctor and the physio as well, and coming up with a plan which is obviously best suitable for myself moving forward in my career. Not just alone, but what's best for me. And we didn't think it was too bad for me having to go back to Barrow for a long time. So it's good that obviously I got it done, and the operation, and things are going well, and I've got a good team behind me, which is always key as a player, of course, with injuries, which tend to happen obviously in the industry. So, but yeah, things are going well, and I'm excited to be back, hopefully sooner than later. But every day is a challenge, but you've just got to tick it off.
I think it's so important to say that what a great set of lads you've got around you in the dressing room to support you when you're playing.
100%. I think that's one thing which, as you mentioned, with the question about being, the dressing room as it is. It's a great dressing room. I've been in, as I said, I've played for a few clubs, and every club has got their own type of dressing room. But since coming here, I've settled in very well, and the players have welcomed me and been so supportive. If it's through injuries, if it's other players who are not available, if it's players watching from home, and that's what you need in a team. That's what you need in a team who are obviously willing to go and get promoted. And if everyone can just play their part as small as just checking up on other players who are injured, everyone's on the right direction and wanting to achieve obviously promotion, which everyone wants. So it's been good, and I've enjoyed obviously being around the lads as well, and moulding the lads. I think that's key and important as well.
Paul, thanks so much. We'll open up the floor to questions for both of them now. If anyone would like to kick us off. You're doing so well with Matt, you're almost shy again. Here we go.
Kieran, you talked about your game, the goal at Bradford. Being a Huddersfield fan, did it give you great pleasure that a certain manager get the sack straight afterwards?
Well, it's taken that long for him to come up today.
Can't really comment on that one. However, you know, it was a nail in the coffin, so I've done something right. But yeah, I don't know. I just focus on my game and just if things don't happen, they happen. It's out of my control, really.
Oh, a good one to start. Yeah, Martin.
Question for us, really. We've obviously the game against Barrow has to be rearranged. I guess as you're a lone player, you probably won't feature in it. Got any thoughts on that potential game?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to play. That's one thing which, I guess, I don't know, for me, I want to play every game, so if it's my old team, if it's a team which I've come on loan from, obviously I would love to play, but of course with how football works, I won't be able to, but you know, with the game being postponed recently, with obviously the weather, of course, you know, there's mixed emotions, of course, you want Barrow to do well, and of course, you know, I want Exeter to do well, but at the same time, you know, it's just supporting the team which I'm playing for at the moment, which is Exeter, so with all due respect, you know, I'm an Exeter player, so obviously I would love for them to have obviously play the game which got called off, and yeah, of course win, because I want to get promoted and I want the team to do well. And of course, you know, with that as well, it's part of football. You know, sometimes you're not going to make everyone happy, but I think as I'm an Exeter player, I put, you know, everything to it, and I want the team to do well. If it's beating Barrow, then it is beating Barrow. But you also to respect, you know, Barrow. Hopefully, you know, they can stay up or, you know, do well in the league as well. But yeah, definitely it's Exeter to get promoted for me. So.
Okay, that was a good answer, wasn't it? Anyone?
I was just wondering, this is a good old interview question, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Of course, you know, being here at this football club, you know, it's been a lot different to other clubs that I've been at. I think I've mentioned it to you know, to some of the players, being around in different dressing rooms. But you know, I keep coming back to you know, when I joined, and I just feel so welcomed. And for me as a player, being happy is the most important thing. And I think when I'm happy, that's when I play my football, and when I enjoy my football. You know, so for me personally, in 5 years, I'd love to say that, you know, I can sign a 5-year deal. So for me personally, yeah, I like to say, you know, sign a 5-year deal and be here at Exeter for 5 years.
Matt, did you hear any of that, Matt? Matt, did you hear any of that, Matt? Did you hear Oz just then?
No, I didn't hear it, mate.
What was it, a 5-year contract, he says?
5-year contract? You can't afford it.
Matt, get yourself out of that one, Oz.
Now, for me, you know, as I said, happiness is key to my football. You know, I've not experienced what I've experienced since coming here at every club that I've been at. So I think for me to be somewhere where I can feel like, you know, a place of home and just enjoy my football, and please obviously the fans, and the fans just be supportive. So hopefully in 5 years, as I've said, you know, playing for Exeter still, and you know, and pushing on, and hopefully, you know, doing well in the league and getting more promotions on my CV as well.
Clapping more.
Yeah, for me, I think it's just playing at the highest level possible in 5 years. I think hopefully I'll be at Huddersfield. I've got my future secured there for the next 3.5 years, so hopefully maybe a new deal there and playing every week in the Championship, or you never know, they're doing well this season, maybe the Premier League. We'll just see how it goes, but only time will tell. Just head down, focus, and just whatever the 5 years brings, it brings.
You mentioned it there. You said Huddersfield going great guns. Could be a Premier League player next season, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone in the club's hoping for. Like our team, we've got a great group of lads, and the like Exeter, probably the underdogs, and they're showing that no matter what, you can never be counted out. And I think we're 9 unbeaten now. I think they're 17 unbeaten. So just anything could happen. It's happened before, it can happen again. And I wish them all the best.
Any more? Oh, 2 in a row, there we go, this is good.
That's a question for Kieran. You've been around a couple of academies, correct me if I'm wrong, Everton as well.
Yeah.
So just a personal one, who's the best player that you've trained or played with in an academy?
Good question. At Everton, probably Anthony Gordon, who's playing now. He was in my under-18s team, and obviously he's gone on to do really well. I think from training-wise, I went to an England camp when I was 15. I was there with Phil Foden and John Gomez, players like that. So I'd probably say Phil Foden, probably the best I've trained with. But he always has been from a young age. We played him at under-8s all the way through to under 21s or whatever, and he was always the best player. So it'd probably be him for me.
As loan players, as the loan deal is sorted, is there anything in particular your parent teams are telling you to go away and focus on? And if so, what are they for you?
For me, it's just experience. Just gaining experience, playing as many games as I can, getting as many games under my belt as I can, because I haven't been able to do that in the previous seasons due to injury, etc. So they're focusing on that really, just playing as many games, getting as much experience as I can to go back next year and challenge for a place in their squad. So that's my main aim, other than the obviously technical aspects of playing as a striker and understanding men's football, which comes again with experience. So I think that's what they're aiming for really.
Yeah, for me, would be of course, kind of not really kick-start, but just go out and of course, get another promotion on my CV really. Coming from Barrow, going into obviously a higher end club in the league, but it was just more of obviously speaking to the gaffer there, which was going out there and enjoying the football, playing with a smile, and of course just scoring as much goals as you can, and of course helping Exeter as well, getting promoted, which would be good for my personal career in terms of winning the league hopefully, and just being around another team environment which are doing well, scoring goals, creating chances, and in the long run of course it's just going to be beneficial for myself to go on in my time of career at the meantime.
Hannah, Rachel, you look keen for questions. Any more questions?
Really, who has been the biggest influence on your career to date? And apart from that, of course, what manager would you most like to play under if you were given the choice of any manager in all 4 divisions?
Great question. For me personally, of course, as I've said, I've played at other clubs which managers have been not what I've expected in terms of having that relationship or for them to believe in me as such. And of course that's all part of football. It comes with a package, and that could be down to anything if it's personal or just on the pitch. But since coming, in fact actually before coming, speaking to the gaffer here and having that, just building that relationship as a man, just to off the pitch type of things, to knowing what I'm capable of doing and what I need to do coming here, and of course being here, having to find my feet, which I have, and enjoy my football again. I think it's been a big credit. He probably wants to hear this, but I've enjoyed playing under the gaffer here, and of course I've not played many games, but in terms of since coming in, and just the welcome from himself and the backroom staffs, it's such a good place to be at the training ground, and it's a good change room to be in, under him, who's obviously seeing me day in, day out at training, and of course coaching me, and of course on the pitch as well. So I would definitely say the gaffer here he's playing a massive part to my development so far, and you see the attributes in terms of getting the best out of players. If it's not myself, it's other players, helping other players, and I think that's quite key to see in a manager, where they're willing to sacrifice the time, if it's 20 minutes after training session, doing quick feet stuff, or ball work, or finishing, or crossing, or heading. I think that's good to see as a development, because I think some managers which I have played in the past, they've just focused on, I get the focus on the team and winning. Of course, that's obviously the main thing. But at the same time, development, because everyone's at different stages of development, and you're never too late to develop. If you're 28, if you're 23, if you're 19, and I think it's key to see that. So for me personally, it would have to be the manager here. Just the fact that obviously since coming here, he's just the welcome and the training, which I thought has helped me massively when making my debut, and of course training in sessions as well.
I'd say for me, any manager in the top 4 leagues, I think it'd have to be Pep Guardiola to play under. If you watch the Amazon documentary, that All or Nothing, you can see everything you need to see. He's an unbelievable manager, and I think that'd be the dream one for me. I've been blessed by having good managers in the 3 clubs I've played at professionally. Both Matteo's have been great. The one at Warsaw obviously didn't do great in terms of results, but I liked how he worked as a manager, how he trained, and obviously Carlos at Huddersfield's doing really good as well for Huddersfield. So I got a bad word to say about any of them really.
We've probably got time for one more before we head into a quick break before the second part of the forum. Does anyone want to have the last question? No? I think that's it then. Thank you very much. Matt, we've come to the end of the first section, so you can stay for the raffle and to hear what Nick says, or again, it's your chance to go before anyone else asks you for a new contract, I think.
Cheers, Greg. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Matt. On the big screen, which you've probably seen is starting to go up on the St. Nick Road stand, and also the training grounds. So I'd like to hand over to Nick Hawker.
Good evening everyone, thank you all for taking the time to come out this evening. It's great to see some youngsters here today. I know there's a young lady here who had to leave earlier. It was really nice to see you here. I just have to warn you, this is the really boring bit. Okay, so don't feel you have to hang around. A couple of things I'd like to say first of all, and I don't know how many of you are in the trust already. We're obviously having a really good season so far, and Matt Taylor has mentioned earlier in the season that this is one of the strongest playing budgets he's had since he's been at the club. And it's important for you to know that the trust are actually underwriting a large portion of that playing budget. So if you ever wonder why you should join the trust, that's a really good reason there, that we've actually contributed several £100,000 to the playing budget to enable Matt to get the depth of squad that he's got. So if you're not in the trust, please have a think about that. It really does make a difference to Matt Taylor and to the club as a whole. Second thing I wanted to say, I don't know if you've already met, but I'd like to introduce you to Carrie Gillen, who is our new Chief Commercial Officer. Do you want to stand up and just give everybody that? Carrie's a really important part of our executive team. She's going to sell thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of commercial opportunities to local and national businesses, and will be playing in the championship in no time at all.
No pressure then.
So I've been asked to update on a couple of our projects. I think a lot of you have seen, probably, if not the front of the big screen, you've probably seen the back of it as you pass by. It's particularly challenging. We seem to have picked the windiest days of the last decade to erect it. But while everybody was looking at the big screen, because the roof of the Big Bang was coming off, so we were all looking in the wrong direction. Latest I've heard is that that's going to be switched on. There'll be something being displayed against the Salford game. They're just putting in all the cabling so that it attaches to all of the cameras we have around the ground. And hopefully we'll start to add to the matchday experience. That's something to look forward to against Salford. But it was supposed to be ready by the first game of the season, so I don't think we ever said which season. but hopefully by the Salford game, so it's like a couple of weeks, that'll be up and running. Also need to talk about the training ground. Those of you who are in the trust very kindly gave us consent to spend a couple £1 million on a new training facility. Those designs have finally been approved. I know there's a meeting tomorrow with the people who are building the facility. It's being built in Halifax and it's being brought down here on some fairly big lorries, I would imagine. So it's sometime in March we should start to see the groundworks happening at the Cliff Hill. We're doing a little bit of extra groundwork to facilitate phase 2 of the project, which will be the academy training, changing rooms and showers. So we're doing the work now to the ground to make it ready for when we bring those buildings in as well, assuming that you give us consent to do that. So hope you will do. It's true to say there's been a few bumps and a few wobbles along the way, as there is with any large construction project, but at the moment we're on track for, I think, for a September live day. Bit of a problem in so much that it overruns the start of the next seasons of having to do a lot of negotiating with Matt to make sure that all the equipment and the ground staff that erect the buildings doesn't interfere with the start of what we hope will be a successful 22-23 season. Who knows where we might be. So this wouldn't be a trust event if I didn't come here asking you for money, would it really? So here goes. The buildings that we're putting up are huge in terms of what we've got now. The gym, I think, is nearly twice the size. There's going to be a lovely canteen, with balconies and silver service, maybe not silver service, but Julian's helicopter pad will be in the car park there. But there's a lot of space. There's a lot of space to fill up. And Elaine, I think, has put on your seats, or Elaine has certainly got a shopping list of things that we need to raise some money for. So if you're a member of the Grecian group and you think that your group could contribute something, maybe a television or there are all sorts of bits on the shopping list, which I can't recall them when I actually need to. But even if you just donate a bit of money so that we can buy the bits, save up and buy the bits, the trust are going to underwrite. So I can't talk to you without my glasses on, but I can't read with them on. So just so Jim, we've got what weights, what bikes. I don't know what bikes. Bikes, basically. A Mirrorfit Plyo box set. Anybody know what that is? No, I don't either. Hand dryers. Lockable storage, that's one of the things that the players wanted, was somewhere to put their personal belongings. At the moment, they're just kind of left at the training ground, out there, so they have lockable personal storage. And then there's televisions, there's projector screens, there's a bit of a theatre there. There's several rows of seats, a big screen where they can do some match analysis. And then there's a kitchen one. When I asked Matt Taylor what did he want, well, what could we do to make his life easier, he said hire a chef. I'm serious. He said to me, hire a chef because we've got to get the players' nutrition right. So there's a whole load of kitchen equipment that's needed, oven racks, cutlery, crockery, cleaning trolleys, trays, dishwasher. Joke there, but I'm not going to say it. And then the canteen, there are tables, chairs, and for the balcony there's even some garden furniture that if you wanted to put your mark on, your group sticker on, that would be very welcome. Please take one of these away with you. And any money that we can raise, I think any money that's raised tonight, £60 will buy us a garden chair, I'm sure. We've got a few more to go yet. So please have a think about how you can help. We're a supporter-owned club, and owners always invest in their assets. And so you are the owners of this football club. We need to invest in our asset.
Nick,
You said Nick?
what are events we're going to put on in the next few months?
Yeah, coming to that. So we've got a number of events. So some of you will remember the Stars campaign that we done a couple of years ago to raise money for the academy. I'm going to be doing something very similar for the Cliff Hill. I think it's called Kit Out the Cliff campaign. So there'll be lots of exciting activities going on to help us raise that money. Please help us because it's important. It's all for the players' benefit. The facilities are really important. We have to give ourselves every opportunity to be successful. I think that's the major things that I wanted to say, but I'm happy to answer any questions either now or I'll hang around for a bit longer if you just want to ask me personally. Have I forgotten anything? Any of our trustees?
So just wondering, when all the facilities are done and everything, could you not give us a chance to come out on an open date or look around?
Yeah, that will definitely happen. In the same way, it's such an impressive facility when it's installed. So in the same way that we do tour grounds here, we'll do tours of the training ground for sure.
Nick, when you say the scoreboard will hopefully enhance the match day experience, apart from showing the score then, what else will it show? What else will it display?
It has to, so essentially it's a huge television, so it can display whatever we want to display. We can do replays of goals, for example, all the great media stuff that Craig and Jed do, and Scott as well. We can play videos on there, team announcements. It can display a clock because people like clocks, and of course it will show the score, which for those of you short on memory. Believe me, you wouldn't believe. So it's got the capacity to do lots of things. I know we're really keen to learn how to use it because it'll take feeds from different cameras around the ground. It will link up with the perimeter board, the electronic perimeter board that we've got. So there's lots of opportunities. Now, I think the likelihood is that we'll use the rest of this season in a kind of trial and error, see what works, see what doesn't, and then go big time at the beginning of the new season.
I guess it'd be good to show half-time scores as well on that. It's probably something you could do, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why we don't do that. They used to have those boards, didn't you? Are you old enough to know that? Yeah, I guess it could easily do half-time scores. Yeah.
Perhaps, as Charles does his wonderful interviews with Craig every now and again, perhaps Charles could do us an ongoing update of how it's going with the development.
You can follow him around with his fork.
Well,
The league being Chaz is the real star of the media team. He's, a nicer pitch will be on the big screen as much as he doesn't want it to be, it will be.
Yeah.
They're very good. He's one of our own as well.
It is. We also have his autograph as one of the prizes, didn't we?
Signed groundsman's shirt. We should have done.
Indeed. Any other questions?
This is about the match day experience. Obviously, with COVID restrictions going, is there any plans for the half-time penalty shootout?
I don't know. I will defer to the chair of the Supporter Experience Committee. He's going to spit his gum out.
Currently, ground safety regulations here at the stadium don't permit it. Other grounds are doing it, so it is something that will be coming along fairly shortly, I'm sure.
Thanks, Carl. Have you got any questions for Carrie? Because she's dying to answer some questions.
I promised her this wouldn't happen, so now
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't promise.
Is that a completely new role or something tasty?
It's a new format as well. Mark Jenkins was here previously. Kind of well, but there was a real team around Carrie. We recognise that we need to improve on what we do commercially. So Carrie's not been asking questions. It was supposed to be the audience asking Carrie. Any questions for Carrie?
Can we just ask her what her role is?
Yes, we don't exactly know what we do.
What she does?
You'll have to excuse me, I'm really rubbish at this. But in essence, my role is to look after the commercial opportunities that we've got and help look at new revenue streams. So I know the plan for the club is to make it as sustainable as possible, especially if we can get a promotion to League One. So I come from kind of like a hospitality, leisure, sports background. I've spent about 25 years in the industry, so on and off in various different roles. So basically the aim is to come in and generate as much money as I can so we can create a bigger budget for the squad, and we can try and push for that kind of elite sports experience and, you know, really do what we can with the stadium that we've got to increase everything for the supporters as well. So it's a bit of a combination role, a bit of everything.
I think what's really important with Carrie's arrival, Carrie answered the question brilliantly. What we're trying to do at the club is to take it up a notch. So we always talk about having a League One team. We want to have a League One club, almost regardless of what league we play in. So bringing people in like Carrie, who has the background. Do you mind if I say who you used to work for? No. Carrie used to work for Plymouth Argyle. Oh. No, she didn't. She didn't. Carrie, so if you follow rugby, Carrie worked for the Scarlets. So and that's a really big club in Wales. And we're really lucky to have her. I'm really pleased that she's chosen to join us. It's going to make a huge difference. And we'll be trying to do that right across the club to improve. We brought some new non-exec directors in who have tremendous experience in retail, in HR, and in compliance. You know, so strangely enough, there's lots of laws that you've got to comply to. So we have a really strong team behind us. We're building that team all the time. It's a really great time to own a football club because you've got some really special skills on the ground now that's going to drive us forward. And there's no disrespect to the people who've been here before, but we have this opportunity, we have this moment in time when we can afford to do some of the things that maybe in the past we haven't been able to. So a great time to be a supporter and an owner of Exeter City. Any other questions? Right at the back there. Spike.
Thank you very much. Question regarding when the meeting at the Phoenix Centre.
Yep.
Question come from the floor about the donut out the Clifford Hill. Regarding, the question come was, could could we look at getting more green, sort of eco-friendly outlet? The answer comes back that would be looked into, and the response will be given back to the supporters, but I'm not seeing anything come back yet. I'm just wondering how far or what changes and what developments there is on that.
So, you know, I think we covered that. We actually take the water that's used to water the pitches are actually come out of the ground now, so it's not mains drinking water or anything. We've already done that. Chaz has done a great job, exactly the same as we've done here at St James Park. People wonder why it's called Well Street at the back. Well, guess what? There used to be a well, and we didn't have to drill down very far actually to find water. So we've done exactly the same thing out at the Clifford Hill. So we're pumping water out of the ground to water the pitches. And the actual construction, that has to go through a green test. I don't know the correct terminology, but once it arrives, the local authority check it out to see whether it fits all of their criteria for being green. We're also putting the electrics in order to run solar panels off the roof. And that will primarily be used to heat water. Obviously we use a lot of hot water with the showers running all day. So whatever we can do, but until we get the building and until the local authority come out and check it, we'll be able to feedback more then. I think it's also important to know that the EFL now have a green policy, and I know Justin was poring over it and filling in questionnaires about the football club generally as to how green we are. So I'm absolutely certain we've got some way to go to make it as good as it should be, or even could be. But it's definitely on the front page. And as things do happen, we will tell you about them. But until we actually get the building, it's very difficult to say.
Just one question. The facilities at the Clifford are well done by the new facilities will be fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money by our standards to spend, but we don't own it, do we?
We don't own the Clifford Hill. That's still owned by the Clifford Hill family or his estate.
So what's the lease? Is there a long lease?
So we just signed a new 25-year lease, and that was tied in with that was one of the conditions actually of the trust allowing them to spend the money. So we signed the lease the same time as we organised the development. I think if you talk to lawyers who know about these things, because we've been there for so long, it's a pretty safe environment anyway. I'm not a lawyer. That's what I've been told. But we're in a safe place, and I know that the people that we've dealt with are very keen to keep Exeter City at the Cliff Hill and are very excited about us developing the area.
So will it be our asset or their asset?
Yeah.
Well,
this new academy centre, is it our asset?
No, it's our and it's one of the great things about it being a modular design. So literally it comes in on a crane and you plonk it down. So we can take it out on a crane if we want to.
So in effect then allows you to place the capital items through it.
Yes, that's correct. It's not, we've not bought it from IKEA or anything. When we move it, it won't fall to pieces with the screws holding it together. At least I hope it doesn't. Anybody else? Great. Listen, thank you ever so much. I'm always feel really privileged when people want to hear anything that I've got to say, because it's usually not very much. But I'm a bit cheesed off that Matt has it. I was good enough to come and listen to him for an hour. He could have hung around for a bit, couldn't he? But there you go.
Just one quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Why did they turn off the old scoreboard?
It's a good dramatic enough.
It never turned on, did it?
It broke, basically.
The honest answer is I don't know.
It just broke. And Andy Gillard has said when the new one is up and running, he can't wait to take his sledgehammer to the old one.
That's right.
They've done it before, so one just knows where we can sit and He's got a noise, isn't it? We all know.
I know. So we've got a board away day in a couple of weeks. But there are a lot of what we're finding is since we've committed to the Cliff Hill, that obviously gives us some opportunities because it's a much bigger building out there. There's still capital in the bank that we can use. We have to. Poor Carrie arrived and didn't have a desk, so we knew that we had to do something for the staff here because it's really uncomfortable in the back office. Really small, really crowded, really untidy. Gets a bit better when Craig goes on holiday, but so we know something in the summer will happen to help the staff, give them a bit more room, a much nicer working environment. In terms of the bar, I think we're going to do something with it, but we're not sure what yet because we want to know what's going to happen with stage 2 of the Cliff Hill first. So it's a wait and see. Ask us in a couple of months. They are, from what I understood, there was a lot of stock left over from pre-COVID that they were trying to shift first, make some room. Whether that was the right thing to do, I'm not a retailer. But I know that Nick is doing the best he can. He's sent any number of examples of other club shops, including the folks down the road, about how much better we could be. We know it. Getting it done is priorities, and I know that the club shop is important to a lot of the supporters, but sometimes you have to choose what do you want? Do you want a great team on the pitch? Do you want great facilities for the team to develop and be better on the pitch? Or do we want to have a sparkly new bar or a bigger club shop?
Yeah, that goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, with the shop, that's part of commercial. It's not a commercial ethic of the club as well. And then I think one of the feedback from one of the visitors comes, so we get some feedback, was saying that was one thing that he thought was the shop was very low on stock and there wasn't a lot in there. It was disappointing on the credibility of the club as well.
But I think it really is priority. Nick's just come in just pre-Christmas, I think, or just post-Christ's. He's going to need some time to settle down. We were very unfortunate that we brought a lady in from, is it Nike, who'd done the job for a while and had to leave. So there was a lot of disruption. Then we had COVID. We know that it's important, and it will improve. And we can't change the size of the shop, but certainly the stock that's in there, we can do some work with. Exeter City have a really small number of staff, and I think you always have to keep that in mind. We work on a shoestring budget. We want to make sure that the capital we have in the bank at the moment is really used wisely to drive success, and we will do that. And the shop will be a part of that, as will the bar, as will the training ground, the new screen. There'll be some changes during the summer for the staff. To be honest, that's the thing that I prioritise more than anything is the staff, because where they have to work at the moment is just not, it wouldn't be acceptable in any business that I've been involved with in the past. So,
as you can tell, I like your food.
Okay.
I go on Twitter and you see this account called Footy Scrum, and it shows all the nice food from all the different brands, and it sort of knocks ours for six basically, because ours is a very basic range. And any plans to sort of get different caterers in the summer?
Take cars.
Yeah.
Clive, do you want to, because you mentioned that boat.
Are you talking about kiosks?
No, I want about the standard of food, to be honest with you. I don't think it's great compared to a lot of other clubs.
Okay.
And I think we could do better.
Okay, so you mean hospitality?
Yeah, the food when you go into the kiosk, because where we sit, and there's enough kiosks, I think, it's just the standard of food.
So in kiosks or
Yes.
hospitality?
Yeah.
In kiosks?
Oh, no, hospitality, no, kiosks, yeah.
Yeah. So Chunk came in this year with their pasties. That was a completely new line. We're seeing...
I had them once.
Yeah, we're seeing increased sales with pasties.
Yeah.
Again, it's coming through COVID and finding... I could probably ask everybody in the room what they'd like to see in the kiosk, and you get lots of different answers.
Yeah.
It's really defining what we can provide in our kiosks, which aren't ideal. They're quite small. But certainly if there's a general consensus about some kind of food you'd like to see in the kiosk, then that's what we want to hear. It's really difficult to guess what people want.
Yeah.
So Chunk was the first phase of that, getting those in there. Most of our kiosks are small. The Adam Stansfield stand's got a great kiosk there, so we could do a lot more with that. So yeah.
They can talk in the survey, can't they?
Yeah, so there is a... I don't know whether Nick was going to mention the survey.
So the last survey we've done, I think, was in 2018, and I think we plan to do them every 3 years with the survey coming on. But during March there will be a survey coming out for everybody, not just trust members, but generally supporters. And all of the food, the shop, you'll be able to criticise, critique, and make suggestions on all of those things. So
you can praise things as well.
Yeah, you can do, but I have a feeling. But the best criticism is always that when people are critical, because how you improve.
Well, can I just say in response to that, since the Chunk came in, I never used to buy food in the kiosk at all, whereas now, I because the Chunks come in, I eat vegetable pasties and they're great, and everything, I just think it's brilliant, and I think it's great.
I like the curry part of it,
so...
But I had all the Chunk pasties and I didn't hate them.
Yeah.
Too large, basically.
Well, I think they're wonderful, so... Yeah, but I'm just saying as a counter... Yeah, as a counter... Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm just saying that some of us think that it's brilliant and they did great,
Yeah,
so that's all I'm saying.
And I think that's the point that Clive was making within the survey. Please say if you really like it, but equally say if you don't like it, because we'll always do our best to make our owners happy.
Are there any plans to hold more events, like make use of the pitch in the summer for not bands as such, but get your Queen tribute acts and stuff like that? It always seems sort of more that you can sort of do with regards to that. Or going to be 2002?
Yeah, well, no, but you can protect the pitch.
Again, Scottish Cricket Club do a lot of that. Yeah.
But as I was saying earlier, we brought in a fantastic commercial team now. I don't think we had the capacity to sell it actually in the past. It wasn't the fact that we didn't want to do it. It was the fact that we didn't have anybody who had the knowledge to go out and sell these things. But I know that Carrie has, I think she's got a book co-play or Paloma Faith or something. Carrie, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I will do. So part of my background is I have booked concerts, so Paloma Faith, Jess Glynn, quite a few, and I've done it all in a stadium environment as well. So there are irons in the fire to see whether or not it would be a possibility here. One thing we do have that's not ideal in this particular location is the fact that we're in a residential area. So obviously that throws up its own fair share of environmental issues and that type of thing. But it's all stuff that we can work within. Company I'm speaking with is Liz Hobbs Group. If any of you want to kind of look them up, they're a really reputable company. They've promoted large-scale bands from like Madonna to all of those type of things, and they work with AEG as well, which is another big industry company. They have got conversations out there at the moment for us, whether or not that be within the stadium or we utilise the training ground as well, albeit with the approval of groundsman and obviously Matt as well. I don't want to kind of conflict with anything that's going on with football. But there are ways and means of doing it. There's some really good industrial flooring that you can put in, which will protect the pitch, which is obviously the biggest concern. And working with the local safety advisory group as well to kind of pull these events off. So there's definitely kind of eyes in the fire to bring a little bit more to the stadium or here all the training ground. and utilise the facilities on a non-match day as well to try and create, again, another revenue in, but also to kind of bring a little bit more variety to what we can offer as well. So yeah, it's definitely happening, but it will be a slow move. It will probably be next year that you'll start to see anything like that.
Does that mean we'll kind of be locking horns with West Point? Because West Point have been monopoly and stuff like that.
Well, they can lock horns, but I generally win. No, I won't do anything that could disrupt any relationships or anything like that. It will work closely with those type of partners, but yeah, my focus is here and do the best I can here. So.
I'm so glad that Carrie's here tonight, because some of the things that Carrie's saying you wouldn't have heard in the past. So again, it's indicative of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to drive the club. It's such an exciting time for us. Phil.
Club just announced the end of season awards evening, which we have been out with for a couple of years. The last time it was done on one match remaining. This year, I think we're even more confident of promotion, summed up with 2 matches remaining. Is there any particular reason why it's as early as that, other than perhaps the university can't cope with this on the day that we would sooner have it?
I think that was the case. Well, they were booked up. University were booked up, basically. Clive, that's right, isn't it?
So the only venue with real capacity this year is the university. They have exams on the weekend. Doesn't matter this much promise promotion on that weekend. So.
Well, still 2 games together. They're both against top teams. So.
Yes, come on, have some faith.
And I won't be hosting them, so that's an even more better reason to buy a ticket.
Any more? Yeah. Go for it.
Question comes from Quinn, and some of his friends as well. They'd like to know, is there a way that fans' forms can be changed at different times? So there's a cash for the Exeter events, but in it, cash to the development centre. So today there's at least 5 family groups which would have probably been here today, but didn't come because their son's out playing football.
We can look at that next time we do one. Well, there's always something going on, Spike, to be perfectly honest, at the training ground, so we're always in danger of somebody missing out, but we can look at that for sure, yeah. For sure.
It's not a question actually, but can I just give a quick plug to an event that's happening in this room on Wednesday afternoon?
Of course you can, yeah.
Ali Britton and Dave Gribble from the ladies team will be here from 2 till 3. The doors will be open from 1 o'clock for refreshments. The museum will be open for anybody who wants to look around. And then after the meeting's finished, 3 or 3:15, Dave has kindly agreed to get the ground to anybody who wants it. Although it's organised by the senior race, it's for all fans. It's open up to anybody. So anybody who's interested in the ladies team, they've had a fantastic season. More than welcome, everybody can and get used to those facilities and show your support for the ladies team. Thank you.
Can I ask if perhaps in the near future we could do something about providing a facility for the ladies to play by readjusting things at the training ground, that everything moved to half an hour forward so we could fit them in, because they haven't got a pitch and they're doing really, really well. And they, you know, they are a really good team now.
We're really conscious of that. I think their leagues, I know that on Sundays they can't use the training ground because the academy use it Sunday morning.
We used it yesterday, by us moving a little bit. Everybody was pretty brilliant because Clapton turned us off the pitch and wouldn't let us play there.
Right.
And so we had a game fixture with nowhere to go. And so everybody really kindly moved forward and back and then fitted in there. But if it could become a definite fixture there, that they could use that when they've got a home match, it would be absolutely brilliant. And that would bring them into the fold of the club. And at the moment, at Clumpton, you can get out there, but you can't get back on a bus. So a lot of people can't watch them. And then when we play Exwick, then there's a huge crowd there. And yesterday, I don't know how many were there. Yeah, but there was loads, wasn't there? There was a lot of people there. I mean, hundreds. And so, you know, it's people are following.
I will take that up. We have talked about it in the past, and it was just too disruptive to the academy was what I was told, but it's certainly something that we've talked about in the past, and I'm very happy to raise it again.
We make such a fuss, not fuss, but we make such improvements in football generally about it being her game too, and like the social media side of the women's team as well. So to hear that it's disrupted to the academy is why it's been held off previously is a little bit disheartening. I think it's really important that as a club we remain inclusive and start to include the females with that.
I think we are inclusive. I don't think there's any question of that at all. You can always improve on those things. But we do have to be mindful of the commerciality of the club. The likes of Ollie Watkins, Ethan Ampadu, Matt Grimes are all dependent upon that academy working right through the different ages. I think it's the under 14s or the under 16s that use it in the morning of Sundays, and that's a really important age group. So I'm told. I'm not a coach. I'm actually in the midst. Clive has written an excellent paper in support of the women's team. I'm supplementing that paper. We have Richard Pym before us, who's a big investor in terms of hard cash in the women's team. He's written a paper, so I'm expecting a lot of development within the women's team. In terms of bringing them fully into the fold, away from CCT and into the club, I don't know where it will be with that. I think that's where it will end up. But it's important that we don't do it too quickly, or that it doesn't come as too much of a shock. And certainly when I've spoken to Abby and Dave and Aaron, I know that they want to take their time a little bit and make sure we get it right, rather than do it in a hurry.
It did work yesterday. It did work yesterday, and everybody was really happy. And we do charge for entry, and so, you know, it isn't like they pay out there for free. They do charge a little bit for it.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's what we were saying earlier about making choices sometimes, isn't it? And if you want to disrupt, if that is, I don't know how many academy players use it, but all the kids will have mums and dads, and now we're getting into their routines, so we just have to do it really carefully and not just jump at it. Anything else? Really appreciate you coming out this evening. It's great to see you all. Thank you for your support.